As we relive Patriot lore, we're going to call this meeting of the uh, February 3rd um, Select Board to order here. And pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, as amended on March 28th, 2025, Governor Maura Healey signed into law an act extending pandemic-related authorizations related to public meetings, allowing remote participation options for public bodies through June 30th of 2027. This February 3rd, 2026 Select Board meeting is going to be conducted by a remote participation by the board, and I hereby grant permission to Westwood Media Center to record the meeting, and I would ask, is there anyone else wishing to record the meeting? Hearing and seeing none, I'm going to go to the chair's update. And I'm going to begin the chair's update by officially welcoming our new town administrator, Connor Reed. Connor joined us yesterday, and this is his first official select board meeting. So Connor, great to have you here. Welcome aboard, and I'll be turning it to you in a few minutes. So
Thank you, Rob.
you're welcome. Next up, want to talk about the John J. Cronin Public Service Award. We are accepting nominees for the John J. Cronin Award, which is named for the aforementioned John J. Cronin, who was town treasurer for many, many years and selflessly gave of his time for the betterment of the community, both as an elected official and in numerous volunteer activities within and outside the community. The award will be presented at the upcoming 2026 annual town meeting on May 4th, 2026. Past recipients include Harry Skip Wells last year, Albert Wizialko the year before, Tom McCuster back in 2023, Ned Richardson in 2022, Barb Delisle in 2021, Steve Rafsky back in 2020, Michael Crone in 2019, our own Patrick Ahern here in 2018, and James Gavin back in 2017. Nomination forms are available online at the town's website, or you can contact the Select Board's office at selectboard@townhall.westwood.ma.us to have one sent to you. Nominations are due by March 9th. The nomination committee will review any new submissions as well as past nominations. So that's speaking of public service. Yesterday and over the past several weeks, I have reflected a great deal on the events that have taken place over the past year that include town issues as well as issues of personal, family, and health-related things that I have decided to resign my seat on the select board effective as of 6:15 tonight, as communicated to Dottie Powers earlier this afternoon. I feel my values may no longer reflect those of the greater Westwood community at large. There are many, many significant challenges yet to be tackled, and I believe this is the right move at the right time for both the healing and health of the community, as well as my own health and well-being. I'm very proud of the many things accomplished during my tenure here. I have given tirelessly of my time and earnestly of my talents over these past 6 years, helping provide leadership during times of uncertainty and transition. From a pandemic, when I first came to office, to new leadership within the fire department and now town hall. I promised from my very first campaign that I would approach the role by always trying to be positive, productive, and pragmatic, and that is how I approached every day of my time in office. I am thankful for my fellow select board colleagues, whom I've had the pleasure to serve with over the years. We may not have always agreed on every issue, but we always made each other better through our thoughtful and sometimes vigorous discussions. Only those of you who have served, and likely their spouses, know the full measure of the sacrifices you made in service to our community during your tenure. Heartfelt thanks to you all. Thank you as well to the entire town staff. The vast majority of the community has no idea and no idea how fortunate they are to have such a dedicated team of truly talented professionals. It has been a pleasure and an honor to work with all of you. Very special thanks to Town Council Pat Ahern for his counsel, his dedicated service to our community, and for his friendship. I'm confident Westwood is in great hands with the arrival of Connor Reed as our new town administrator. His experience and his approach will be a breath of fresh air for Westwood. I will always make myself available for consultation with Connor, as well as my colleagues Marianne and Joe, just as those who served before me graciously made themselves available to me. Thank you, and I wish the town much success moving forward. That is the end of the chair's update. Connor, I am going to turn it to you, and I wish you all the best and continued success.
Thank you, Rob.
I'm just gonna pop in here sort of as a matter of practical matter. So this is obviously very sudden. And before we want to move on, I want to thank Mr. Gotti for his service to the town and to the board. As a practical matter, the third member of the board typically follows the chair. And so, Marianne, for the purposes of this meeting, would you be willing to serve as the acting chair?
Yes.
Okay. So with that, I can hand it back to Connor.
Thanks, Molly. And I echo your thanks to Rob. I look forward to working with the board. I appreciate the time I did have with Chair Gotti, and I will reiterate that I appreciate tremendously the faith that the select board has put in me as your town administrator as of yesterday. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to give my first update to the board and the community as town administrator. Just want to note a couple of things first. I would like to acknowledge and say thanks to the hundreds of residents who came out last night for a special town meeting. I appreciate how thoughtful and civil the discussion was, and as well as the work, the logistics behind a successful town meeting are quite substantial. For the town staff, the school staff that we work with, the elections team, moderator, legal counsel. So I want to give a thank you to all those folks for making that happen. I can appreciate all of the work that goes into a town meeting. I've been to quite a few. I don't know how many of my peers can say that they had one on their first day, but you all did an excellent job. I got to meet a handful of residents during check-in. I look forward to getting to know many, many more in the coming months and years working together. To assist in that, after I get my feet fully under me, hopefully this month, I plan to announce a series of town administrator office hours where I'll make myself available at town hall, maybe some other locations around town, just to be available for folks to drop in, get to know me a little bit, help me get to know you a little bit, understand um, your perspectives on what you care about, what makes Westwood special to you, so that you can help me get up to speed quickly to do my job, which is to keep Westwood the excellent place that it is. And so I'll have more to come when I iron those details out, but I wanted to flag that for the board now. I'd also like to share an update from the police chief. Chief of Police Jeffrey Silva is pleased to announce that a team of professional assessors from the Massachusetts Police Accreditation Commission, also lovingly known as MPAC, is scheduled to arrive on February 9 and 10th to re-examine various aspects of the Westwood Police Department's policies, procedures, operations, and facility. As many members of the community and likely board are already aware, the Westwood Police Department received accreditation certification with full accreditation in 2023. That accreditation evaluation often identifies corrections that are needed in a department, which was not the case in Westwood. And as a result of the hard work and the commitment to the excellence in policing by our police department, our staff, there were no corrections to be made after an exhaustive peer review of hundreds of policies, practices, and looking at the department. Independent verification by MPAC that the department meets the commission standards is part of a process that Westwood Police undergo to gain state accreditation as well. It's a self-initiated evaluation process that ensures excellence in public safety practices in our department. The Massachusetts Police Accreditation Commission's established 257 mandatory standards, contains 125 optional standards. Not every police department in Massachusetts municipally meets these standards. And so I can say, having worked with a fellow accredited agency in my prior role, that the time and the effort that it takes of the police department from patrol up to the leadership is significant to achieve this. So I want to say thank you to our police department for making that happen and for all the work that goes into it, and to say thank you to Chief Silva. Finally, I want to reiterate what I said at the outset, that I appreciate and thank the board for my appointment, for putting your trust in me to be your town administrator. I would also like to say, as my first update, personally, thank you to Molly. I have been an interim town administrator as well. I know how significantly difficult that role can be. And Molly did an excellent job, and I'm really excited to work with her, and I'm proud of the work that she did to keep Westwood moving forward. And I think we're all going to do great things together. So thank you. And I guess I'll turn it back to you now, Marianne.
Thank you, Connor. We are going to turn to public and press, but before we do, in my new role here as chair, I have three things I want to say. Number one, Molly, I would like to thank you on behalf of the board for your committed, dedicated service as interim town administrator over these last few months. Thank you very much. You put your all into the role, and we very much appreciate your efforts on behalf of the town. Connor, I want to welcome you again on behalf of the board. We are thrilled to have you here with your breadth of experience that you bring, and we're very much looking forward to working with you. So thank you for being here. And lastly, I just want to thank Rob Gotti for his service on this board over the last 5 years. I will second what he said in terms of his working earnestly and tirelessly over these 5 years in service of the town. And we will miss him greatly as a colleague on this board. Having said all of that, I will read the public meeting participation guidelines we've been using. Each select board public meeting will include a 15-minute public comment period following the chair's update and town administrator's update. During the public comment portion, residents will be allowed to participate in one of the following ways: speaking live or unmuted by using the raise hand function, or with written comments submitted using the Q&A function. As a reminder, residents must identify themselves by stating their full name and address, either verbally or in writing, and each speaker will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. The select board will not respond to questions during this time, but will listen to all comments and concerns shared by the public. With that, and Tish, if I could ask you if you could please read the comments for us in the queue. I'm not seeing any right now.
We have one.
We have one. Okay, yes.
So Lynn Vitti, 37 Abbey Road. Has the select board given any further, I believe it's consideration to the request I have made a few times earlier to return to in-person meetings with a hybrid feature for those who would otherwise find getting to the meeting in person due to physical limitations or disabilities, illness, etc. And then she just clarified consideration. And then the second one looks like it is from William Sellis, 175 Canton Street. Welcome, Connor. We are glad to have you. How many people are on the call?
I will answer that. There are 32 participants, 24 attendees, 8 panelists. And I will also say, Lynn, to your point, that is something that we are going to be considering and discussing at a later date. I'm not seeing any hands raised.
No.
And not seeing any further questions, but I think we'll give it another minute or so.
You have
Marianne,
a person who just
well,
raised their hand, Claire Galkowski.
Okay, can we let Claire in to speak? Hi, Claire.
Oops. All right, now can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Claire.
Hello. I just was wondering if the select board was going to be commenting on last night's town meeting.
Claire, can you just give us your full name and
Oh, I'm
address
sorry.
for the record?
Claire, I should know that by now. Claire Kalkowski, 320 Dover Road.
I will just say that is not on our agenda in terms of a discussion of the special town meeting.
Yes, I noticed that, and I was going to bring it up last night, but that discussion ended quickly. So I was wondering if that was going to be discussed at any point, or if it's going to be not acknowledged.
Well, I think it has been acknowledged by our town administrator in terms of the meeting and the great turnout. And as far as the substance of it, I presume we will be discussing that at a later date and providing updates when we have updates to provide. I'm not seeing any other hands raised. Do we have any other? It looks like we might have a couple
Marianne,
questions.
I wanted to say something when you're done with this section. Before you hop into the next part.
The next question, Joe?
No, the next ambulance rates. I want to say something before you hopped into public participation, but you were on such a roll on such short notice. I did not want to break your stride.
Okay, we do have a few, it looks like a
Sure,
few more questions,
Yeah.
Tish.
We
in the
do.
Q&A.
We have a question from Erin Sibley, but if she could just provide her address, that would be great. We have a question from David Atkins, 783 High Street, or a comment. One of the benefits of having an in-person hybrid meeting is that other residents are able to see each other and talk to each other about the issues before and after the meeting. That is lost in the anonymous Zoom setup.
Thank you, David.
And then we have Erin Sibley put her address in. Erin Sibley, 182 Bay Colony Drive. She asks, first, what happens to the empty seat on the select board? Can you please tell us what happens next with respect to the new vacancy on the select board?
Madam Chairman, I'm happy to answer that question if you want.
Yes, please. Thank you.
So anytime a board member resigns from a board other than the select board, the board that the resignation came from and the select board get together and they appoint someone to the next election to fill that seat. The select board's the only board where you can't do that. So we will have to schedule a special election, and that's to be decided fairly quickly, we hope, and that should happen reasonably quickly. So we'll have a special election to fill that seat for 1 year, which is the remainder of Mr. Gotti's term. And we'll do so in an open meeting situation. So that's more information to follow.
Thank you. I see that Ms. Sibley said, thank you, Pat, for answering.
My pleasure.
And then we have a question from William Sellis, 175 Canton Street. Was Lynn Vidi's question in Q&A answered? I don't recall hearing the response.
I will say that I did respond, Mr. Sellis, saying that that is something that we are going to be considering and discussing. And I appreciate the feedback. I am not seeing any other hands raised or questions. So I think, Joe, you wanted to say something?
I did. I want to thank Rob for his service. I think I just want to share my own personal view on the fact that I'm thrilled being a select board member, but I did not appreciate the number of hours that you have to put in when you're chair. And I know Rob went above and beyond that. I can't imagine the hours he's been putting in the last few months. I want to thank him for that. And I also want to thank Molly for her strong leadership during that interim period. That's it for me.
Thanks, Joe. Okay, I think we will then move on to scheduled action. The first agenda item being a discussion on ambulance rates. And I believe we will have Assistant Chief Colin McCarthy with us. Is that right?
So while Colin is coming in, I can sort of start setting the stage for this. So the board last visited ambulance rates back in February or March of last year. Before that, they had not been reviewed in a number of years. And at the meeting, when the rates were increased last year, the board asked us to make a habit of reviewing these rates on an annual basis. So we have done that, and Assistant Chief McCarthy is here before you tonight with a recommended increase.
Hello,
Good evening.
Hi, Colin.
good evening. Thank you very much for having me and giving me this opportunity here. Just some background on our ambulance rates and the changes. Our ambulance revenue is generated through billing of commercial insurance, Medicare, as well as Medicaid, and directly to patients as well. That billing is categorized in several different categories. First and foremost is by mileage. So transportable mileage is the first rate. And then we have three different levels of treatment that we provide. We have a basic life support level. We have an ALS level 1, which is advanced life support, and then an advanced life support level 2. The difference being that an ALS 1 is billed when we use advanced skills such as IV access, cardiac monitoring, and give certain medications, where an ALS 2 is billed during more severe calls like cardiac arrest or severe trauma or high acuity calls. All ambulance receipts are deposited into a dedicated account used solely for ambulance-related expenses. If you remember back in March of 2025, the Select Board approved an increase in ambulance rates for the first time in 5 years, as Molly stated. At that meeting, the board directed the fire department to conduct an annual review of comparable ambulance rates, which is why we're here tonight. So we are proposing, the fire department is requesting approval of the following rates. We're proposing to increase our mileage up to $58 per mile, which is an increase of $3. Our BLS rate, an increase to $2,205. Our ALS 1 rate is $2,651. And our ALS 2, we're proposing to increase to $3,728. These increases represent a 5% increase across all of the categories I mentioned. This will more closely align us with the area communities that provide an ambulance service as well, and it most closely or directly aligns with town of Norwood, who is our most frequent mutual aid partner, so it aligns exactly with Norwood Fire. As far as the impact, commercial insurance providers will experience the greatest impact, with Medicare and Medicaid rates are governed by fixed payment schedules and they will not change. Residents will continue to be billed only up to their deductible and co-payments will be waived. Our EMS costs account for approximately 0.3% of overall medical expenses, so minimal impacts on insurance premiums will be found. Billing patients. Patients fall into one of the following billing categories. We have insured patients, commercial insurance, Medicare, Medicaid. The appropriate insurance carrier will be billed by Proclaim, which is our third-party billing service. Patients demonstrating financial hardships may request a payment plan or a financial hardship waiver. All resident patients will have to pay any applicable insurance co-payments will be waived in recognition of their payment of town real estate and or personal property taxes. A narrative will accompany all commercial insurance claims. It will state municipal resident patient cost sharing obligations may be waived. Deductibles will be billed to the patient. For non-residents, Non-residents will be billed for applicable deductibles and co-payments as well. Financial hardship determination. Any patient unable to pay deductibles or co-payments may request a financial hardship review. Patients or their designee shall complete a hardship waiver form when possible. Proclaim, the billing company, may also identify and document financial hardships. Patients who attest that their household income does not exceed 500% of the federal poverty level are eligible for elimination of any remaining balance. I know I went through that quickly. I spoke quickly. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have to clear some of that up.
Thank you very much, Assistant Chief McCarthy. So essentially, this is the annual review that we
That's
had
correct.
agreed to do. It's keeping us competitive with our comparable communities, specifically Norwood. And thirdly, the increase in revenue is primarily going to be paid by commercial insurance companies.
That's correct. Yep.
I've got it. Joe, any questions?
None, other than I'd like to compliment Colin and the men and women of the Westwood Fire Department. They do an outstanding job, provide an excellent service, and we're very grateful for all that the members of the Westwood Fire Department do.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
Hear, hear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd be happy to make a motion, Mary Ann.
Thank you, Joe.
I'd like to make a motion the board vote to approve the proposed ambulance rates as suggested by Assistant Chief Colin McCarthy.
And I will second that motion out of necessity and do the roll call. Joe?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Thank you very much, Assistant Chief McCarthy.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good
Thanks,
night.
Colin.
You too.
Okay, that brings us to our next scheduled action item, which is a financial update relative to the FY27 budget. And we have our Finance Director, Stephanie McManus, and I believe Molly also on this, and Connor.
Team effort. Thank you,
Team
Mary Ann.
Thank you all.
I just have a very brief update tonight. As is usual in the process this time of year, we're gearing up to go in front of the Finance and Warrant Commission next week for the first time. That'll be on the Wednesday, the 11th. So that will be the first time that we go and formally present to the FinCom specifics on the budget of this year. So we have the public hearings that are in later in February and in March, but this is sort of just teeing up and previewing for them where we are in the process, what the budget looks like, taking some preliminary questions, going through that process. So just in anticipation for that, I wanted to check back in with the board tonight, specifically on the capital side, because that's probably been the longest item that I've gone without presenting to you. So the last time I went through that was in December, and I just wanted to check back in with the board. Nothing has changed on those articles, and I know you have the listing of articles and the numbers with the base capital and the additional capital articles, just to see if there was any last minute questions you had or changes or additions that are needed. But it's still the same as what I presented in December, and that's what I'm planning on bringing to them next week. So just want to do a quick check-in. I'll stop there for a minute and see if there's any feedback that the board has for me so far on that.
I don't, relative to what was presented before. Joe, do you?
I don't. Stephanie, you did a great job before, and it's finally sinking in. So thank you for a job well done.
Thank you, Joe. With that, I'll turn it over to Connor just for a little update on the operating side. That's okay, Connor?
Sure. Thank you, Stephanie. So as the board's aware, a preliminary balanced fiscal 27 budget was presented by the town last week. I appreciate the efforts of both the town and the school staff pulling a budget together on that timeline, especially during winter, where shifts from the state budget or the group insurance commission as far as it pertains to our healthcare rates in January and February can have a material impact on where things stand and what our outlook is. As the board is also aware, our partners at the Westwood Public Schools are continuing to assess the district budget, including some potential alternative funding targets that they have discussions ongoing. And I look forward to getting to work with the superintendent, the school committee, and the entire Westwood Public Schools community to kind of work together and collaboratively, responsibly land the plane on the final balanced budget for fiscal 27 in the coming weeks. I had a really good meeting with Superintendent Pirawar today, and I have full confidence that the town and the school leadership teams are going to work together in partnership to keep Westwood moving forward. And I know I only get to do this for I don't know how many meetings, but I'll test my luck. Use the new guy card here and say that I appreciate in advance on the town's behalf a bit of grace for a couple of weeks, having started yesterday, to solidify things as a team. And we will share more as soon as we do. And I look forward to doing so. So thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Excellent. Anything, Joe, on that?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. I think we can move on then to our discussion of the 2026 annual town meeting articles.
I can start that one, and I'm also gonna have Stephanie chime in here. So
Thank
we
you.
have one amendment and one elimination for you here today. So budget articles 13 and 14, on the advice of bond counsel, we're actually able to combine them into one article. Stephanie, do you want to discuss what articles 13 and 14 are?
Yeah, sure. Can I if I'm just going to share my screen really quick because it might be easier to look at, I'm thinking. It's just one quick slide. Can you see that okay?
Not yet. Oh, there it is.
Okay. So, and this is actually good timing because I can give an update on one of the articles that I haven't really presented to you on yet. So this had originally been two budget articles, Article 13 for the first one and Article 14 for the second. And I was just waiting to get clarification, which I did. Bond counsel has agreed that these can be combined into one article. So that will be the elimination that Molly just talked about. We'll get rid of Article 14 and it'll both be combined into 13. So this is sort of, I guess, what you would call a housekeeping item. It's just rescinding unissued debt authorization. As everyone here knows, the Pine Hill School is now open, up and running. The project closed out successfully. So we're just cleaning up on the back end any unused debt that was authorized but not actually borrowed for. So these are the amounts just listed over here. This is for the feasibility and design phase for that project. And this is just the language of how the article will read. It's just the project has now been completing and borrowing is completed. We're not borrowing anymore for this project, which I know I've updated you on previously. So this just prevents the town from borrowing unnecessary funds and also frees up our borrowing capacity. So here's just the original amounts, what's being rescinded at town meeting, and just some information on those specific articles. Are there any questions on that?
No, and Marion, I'd be happy to make a motion on that at this time, if that would be helpful.
Yes, please. Thank you, Joe.
And Stephanie, you'll have to double check me on the numbers because the print was kind of small, but let me take a shot
Almost
at it.
made it bigger too, and now I'm regretting that. Sorry, Joe.
It's fine. No, we're fine. We're good. I'd like to move to amend Budget Article 13 to state the following. Rescind the unissued debt authorization of $233,000, $205 for the Hanlon Pine Hill Elementary School planning design. I move to remove Budget Article 14. So the total number that I have, Stephanie, is 233,205.00. Is that correct?
You're making me do some quick math here,
It
but
is. I
yes,
just
that is
checked it.
correct. Yes. Yes. Thanks, Joe. Yes.
Okay. That's my motion, Marianne. I'm sticking to it.
I will second that motion out of necessity. Roll call, Joe,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Just an update on the miscellaneous articles. There are 12. I'm not asking the board to do anything with them tonight. Of the 12, 2 are reserved for potential street acceptances. The individuals associated with those streets have been notified of a deadline of mid-February, so we should know if they're a go or no go by your next meeting. 5 are reserved as needed for the FS1 project. As you know, FS1 steering committee is working very regularly to get a proposal to the select board in advance of town meeting. So those are held in reserve, and we'll know more about those as February progresses. As Stephanie said about the budget, we will be doing a high-level overview of these articles at the Finance and Warrant Commission meeting next Wednesday, February 11th.
Great, thank you, Molly. Joe, any questions on that?
No, none at all. Thank you.
All right. Moving on, we have a Fire Station 1 update.
We are actually going to scratch that item for tonight, and Ford will come before you at your next meeting on the 23rd.
Okay. So that takes us to new business. The first of which is reaffirmation of the diversity, equity, and inclusion statement of the town, and I'll be happy to take this. As folks may recall, on December 20, 2021, the Select Board adopted and released a statement, a joint statement on diversity, equity, and inclusion with the town's Human Rights Task Force. The Human Rights Task Force is made up of a group of residents, town staff, school staff, and town religious leaders, including Joan Courtney Murray, Latifah Frank, Melinda Garfield, Lizzie McGovern, Amanda Phillips, Connie Rizzoli, Sergeant Heather Rose, Danielle Sutton, Mandy Taft Perman, and I serve as the Select Board liaison. The Select Board reaffirmed this statement last year in celebration of the Martin Luther King holiday. And as we are still a little bit close to that holiday, we would like to do so again. And it's a brief statement, and I would just like to read it before taking a motion to reaffirm it. The statement states, "We, the members of the Select Board, wish to make a statement in support of diversity, equity, and inclusion in Westwood's town government, schools, and community as a whole. We believe the following to be true about this town that we are so proud to serve. Westwood is part of a nation founded upon the principles that all people are created equal, and that each person has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is up to all of us to move our community and country ever closer to these ideals for all people. One of the many strengths of our community is the fact that we are made up of individuals who are diverse in their ethnicities, racial backgrounds, spiritual and political beliefs, gender identities, sexual orientations, socioeconomic status, physical and neurological abilities, and more. The town of Westwood strives to be, for all residents and community members, a safe place where one is free from discrimination and able to grow into the best, most authentic version of oneself, and where we are committed to continuously learning and evolving through our connections to and mutual respect for each other and our community. The Select Board welcomes and supports the various contributions of our diverse community, knowing that it is a source of the strength and character of our town. We wish to affirm our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion in all facets of our policies and practices. We have received significant support and encouragement from residents, and with the creation of our Human Rights Task Force, comprised of volunteers who share the same commitment. Together with the Human Rights Task Force, we are providing this statement to the town. We look forward to hearing how we can continue to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts in Westwood, not only from the Westwood Human Rights Task Force going forward, but also from any residents who would like to share their thoughts, ideas, and perspectives on ways we can continue to improve our town. This work begins with each individual community member. Through our collective action, we can make real our ideals. I will accept a motion to reaffirm the statement.
I'm happy to do so. would like to make the motion the select board reaffirm the diversity, equity, and inclusion joint statement, which you just read, with the Human Rights Task Force as adopted on December 20th, 2021, and reaffirmed on January 6th, 2025.
I will second that motion out of necessity. Roll call, Joe,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Thank you very much. And thank you to all who worked on that statement and who continue to do this work in town. That will take us to town administrator appointments. Pat, I think you're going to take us through this,
I
please.
am, Madam Chairman. So the town administrator has very many roles, but also has several appointments and ex officio assignments. And I'd like to go through those with you. The town administrator serves with the American with Disabilities Act Coordinator, the Chief Procurement Officer, the Compensation Agent, the Fair Housing Director, Municipal Hearings Officer, and Parking Clerk. He will also has ex officio appointments to the Cemetery Commission, the Housing Partnership Fair Housing Director, Long Range Financial Planning Committee, and the Pedestrian and Bicycle Advisory Committee. Additionally, the town administrator serves as the West Suburban Veterans District Representative. Happy to answer any questions about that. This has been a longstanding precedent in the town. And again, happy to answer any questions anybody might have.
Suppose the only question is, Connor, are you willing to assume these responsibilities?
Absolutely.
Parking clerk is the most fun.
I don't have any questions. I'd be happy to make some motions.
Thank you, Joe.
I'd like to make the motion select board appoint town administrator on day 2, Connor Reed, as the American with Disabilities Act Coordinator, Chief Procurement Officer, Compensation Agent, Fair Housing Director, Municipal Hearing Officer, and Parking Clerk for terms to end on June 30th, 2026.
I second that motion out of necessity. Roll call, Joe,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well.
I'd like to make a motion select board appoint town administrator Connor Reed as an ex officio member of the Cemetery Commission, the Housing Partnership Fair Housing Committee, Long Range Financial Planning Committee, and Pedestrian and Bicycle Advisory Committee for terms to end on June 30th, 2026.
I second that motion out of necessity. Roll call, Joe,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well.
I'd like to make the motion select board appoint town administrator Connor Reed as the West Suburban Veterans District Representative for a term to end on June 30th, 2026.
I second that motion out of necessity. Roll call, Joe,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. You are duly appointed, Connor.
You cannot get rid of me now.
Congratulations.
That takes us to old business, specifically appointments and reappointments of boards and committees. What I'm not seeing here in our packet is our current list of vacancies. Do we have that?
It's
Handy?
on the town's website and I can pull it up very quickly.
That would be great.
Yeah.
And just while you're doing that, at I believe every meeting, we announce the vacancies that we have on our town boards and committees. And we really want to encourage folks, especially folks who have never been involved in town government before, to please get involved because we need you and our residents have so much to offer. Do you have that, Molly?
I do. So there are presently openings on the Westwood Environmental Action Committee, or WEAC, Conservation Commission, Pedestrian and Bicycle Advisory Committee, Recreation Commission, Cemetery Commission, Commission on Disability, Historical Commission, Housing Partnership Fair Housing, and the Westwood Cultural Council.
Thank you very much. Take it away, Molly.
So we have two recommendations for you tonight. The first is for a vacant position on the Conservation Commission. Concom Chair Michael Walsh, Conservation Agent Karen Skinner-Catrone, and myself met with Robert Schiavo and are thrilled to recommend him for the vacant position. This position has been vacant for quite some time. I believe Grace left in August or September of last year, so we are very grateful for Robert for stepping up to serve in this role. And the second recommendation is for a vacancy on WEAC. WEAC Chair Matt Eckerl and I met with Shroop Kumar last week and are also delighted to recommend him for the vacant position. And just reiterate the positions, the boards and committees I mentioned before. There's a number of openings on various boards and committees, and we encourage residents to review that list on the town's website.
Thank you, Molly. Joe, any questions?
No, I think these are very impressive candidates. I think we're quite fortunate and looking forward to working with them.
I agree. Thank you, Shroop, and Robert, for stepping up and for volunteering. I will entertain motions, Joe.
I'd be happy to make the motions for the select board to appoint Shroop Kumar to the Westwood Environmental Action Committee for a term to expire on June 30th, 2027. And for the select board to appoint Robert Schiavo to the Conservation Commission for a term to expire on June 30th, 2027.
I second that motion out of necessity. Roll call, Joe.
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Congratulations to the both of you, and thank you again. That brings us to Select Board Liaison Reports, which brings to mind that we will need to be reorganizing ourselves as a board in the coming weeks. Joe,
I don't have any updates, Marianne.
Okay. I did want to report that the Canton Street Project Working Group will be meeting on February 12th, which is a Thursday at 6:30 p.m. in the cafeteria at the Pine Hill School. I have no further updates, which brings us to our next meeting date, which is Monday, February 23rd via Zoom. I think that brings us to the end of our agenda. With that.
Yeah, with those meeting dates, Mary and Tish, those look fine that you sent along, Tish. Thank you. And before we close this out, I don't know if there's anything else that Connor would like to say before I make a motion to adjourn.
Sure. So thank you, Joe. One item I did want to flag as well is that you and I got to spend some time with our state delegation today, Rep. McMurtry and Senator Rush, which was great. And I know something of interest to the community of Westwood, to the fire department, and to the region is Norwood Hospital. I'm sure folks are following that closely. Our state leaders are working together, and some legislation has been filed regarding potential state action relating to eminent domain on that parcel. The hearing for that may occur before the next select board meeting. So I just wanted to flag for the board that if that's the case, absent any concerns from the board tonight, I would look to work with perhaps Chief Lund and the team here and submit written testimony on behalf of Westwood, working in partnership with our state delegation, the importance that we feel that having a functioning hospital in this area like Norwood back would be a significant positive benefit to our community.
Absolutely, Connor. And thank you for jumping in on that on day 2. It is a matter of great importance to this community, not having that hospital available to us. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Appreciate that. Appreciated your time. Marianne, I'm ready to make a motion to adjourn. I think we're there.
I think we're there, Joe. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn this February
3rd
meeting tonight. Thank you.
I will second that out of necessity. Roll call. Joe?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Good night, everyone, and thank you.
Good night. Welcome, Connor.